So we need to understand first, when we are talking about variations, what really do we talk about? Now, variations, this topic has to do with when you're talking about a relationship between two quantities or more than two quantities. For example, the relationship between x and y, x and z, and such a thing. So when you're talking about variations, we've got first what we call direct variations. So direct variations are just direct relationships between quantities. For example, they are going to say x varies directly as y. So if they say x varies directly as y, the symbol for variation is this one. So we're going to say x varies directly as y, like that. So if you want to change to put an equal sign, then it is going to become x is equal to ky. So you always introduce this constant of variation here whenever you are introducing equal sign when you're talking about variations. So direct variations, you just see one quantity here, it is going to go to another quantity, like that. Now we also have what we call inverse variations. When you are talking about inverse variations, inverse, when one quantity is on top, then another one is going to be down. If they say y varies inversely as x, so this is going to be y varies inversely as x, so that will be 1 over x. That is inverse variation. 1 varies inversely as x. So if you want to change, okay, if you want to change this to become an equation, it becomes y is equal to, you are always going to introduce a constant k, and then you have got x in the denominator. So it's more like this k is going to multiply with a 1 on top. It will just become k. That's why we are not saying a 1 there. And then you've got x in the denominator. So this is another type of variation. And then the last one is called a mixed variation. So we have got three types of variations. Now, when you're talking about mixed variations, this is a variation that has both direct variations and inverse variations. For example, if they say y varies directly as x is as the square of x, if you hear square of x, it means x squared, and inversely as, let's say, cube root of z. So cube root of z, like that. So such a variation is a mixed variation because you've got a direct variation at the same time and an inverse variation. If you have got a question, please be sure to ask. Okay, so having understood this, we can now look at questions and to see how we work out these variations. So we have got this question from one past paper. Hope we are able to see. So it is saying it is given that y varies inversely as the square of x. The table below shows some values of x and corresponding values of y. So the variation itself, if you read the statement, so you always make sure that you read the statement. It is given that y varies inversely. If you read the statement, it varies inversely as the square of x. Now what do we mean by square of x?
It's not clear.
Okay, where the the numbers.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try just to be reading them out, perhaps you get that. So the statement is saying it is given that y varies inversely as the square of x. Y varies inversely as the square of x. So this means we have got y varies inversely, we need to have a 1 on top, and then down as the square of x. So square of x means x squared, like that. This is the variation that has been given. So you can write this as an equation, then it will become y is equal to, you are going to introduce a k, that is a constant of variation, and then down you have got x squared. So this is the relationship between x and y. Now the table that you've been given, let me put it here again. If you have got x there, we've got y, and then the first one is a 2 and a 9, a b and a 4, and then a 6 and a. The first question is asking us to find the value for k. Second one is asking us to find the value for a, and then part C is asking us to find the value for b. So these are the questions. Now we've determined the equation of variation. The first question is asking us to determine the value for k. So to be able to find the value for k, you are going to get the same equation, y is equal to k over x squared. Now you are going to use this table. So you can see that this one we've been given, if the value of, remember this is x, if the value of x is 2, then the value for y is going to be 9. That's what they've given us. So we're going to come here where there is y, we are going to put 9, and this is going to be k over, where there is x, we are going to put a 2. That's what we can see there. So we're going to put 2 there, but remember it's not just x, it is x squared, so even this 2 is going to be squared. So this is going to give us 9 being equal to k divided by 2 squared is a 4. So we are going to say this is the same as 9 over 1, and then we cross multiply 1 multiplied by k, that is going to be k, and then 9 multiplied by 4, that is going to be a 36. So that's the value for k we found in the first question. Do you have any question on this one, or it is okay?
It is okay.
All right. And then we are going to go to part B. Now for part B, we want to find the value for a. To be able to find the value for a, we are going to use the same equation which we have here. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite the equation, but where there is k, I'm going to put the value. So I'm going to say y is equal to, where there is k, we've already found the value for k, that is 36, and then divided by x squared. So if they asked you to find the equation of variation, this is the equation of variation. You need to find the value for k and then substitute it there. Now for part B, we want to find the value for a. Look, the value for a, we are using this column. So to be able to find it, where there is x, we can see x, where there is x, we are going to substitute a 6, and then where there is y, we are going to substitute a. So we are going to get that where there is y, we are going to put a, and this is going to be equal to 36. Where there is x, we are putting a 6. And remember, it's not just x, is x squared, so this is going to be 6 squared. This means that a is going to be 36 divided by 6 squared is also a 36, meaning that a is going to be equal to a 1. And then now we go to part C. We'll use the same equation, y is equal to 36 divided by x squared. Now for this one, we want to find the value for b, and we can see to be able to find the value for b, we're going to use this. So where there is x, we are going to substitute b. Where there is y, we are going to substitute 4 in the equation. So we're going to go about it. Where there is y, we are substituting 4, and that is equal to 36 over, where there is x, we are substituting b. But remember, it's not just x but x squared, so this is going to be also b squared. And then here we're going to cross multiply. This is the same as over 1. So 4 multiplied by b squared is going to be 4b squared, and this is going to be equal to 1 multiplied by 36 is going to be 36, and then divide both sides by 4. This one will cancel with this one. So b squared is going to be equal to, how many times can 4 go into 36? Do we know how many times it can go? So 4 can go into 36 9 times. And then remember we have got b squared. We want to find the value for b. So we're going to square root on both sides because we have got a square there. Even this side we're going to square root. So the question is b is going to be equal to this square we are seeing is going to cancel with the square root. Now what number can we multiply 2 times for us to be able to get 9? That's the square root of 9. Do you know any number that you can multiply? Yes? Okay, it is a 3. So the answer is a 3. But because this is a square root, the answer is going to be positive or negative. It is always positive or negative. Therefore, our answer is b is equal to 3 or b is equal to negative 3. So there are two answers. That is how you work out this one. Okay, let's work out this one also. It is not even that clear also. I'm going to try to just read it out. The statement is saying given that y varies directly as x, so the statement we can make the equation y varies directly as x and inversely as the square of z. So and inversely as the square of z. This is the statement. We can now write it in form of an equation. So this is going to be y is equal to, we need to introduce k, so we are going to put k because we've introduced equal to, and then remember on top we have got x, and then down we have got a z squared. This is the relationship. And then another thing that we've been told is that y is equal to 10 when x is equal to 32 and z is equal to 4. So we are going to use these ones which you've been given here to be able to find the value for k, and that's what the first question is saying. Find the value for k. So to be able to find the value for k, yes,
Is it 32 or 34?
it's a 32. All right, so we are going to get this equation the same way it is. Y is equal to kx divided by z squared. Where there is y, we are going to put 10. This is going to be equal to k. Where there is x, we are putting 32. And then in the denominator, where there is z, we are putting 4. But remember, it's z squared, so it will be 4 squared. And this is going to give us 10 is equal to k 32 divided by 4 squared is a 16. And you know that 16 can go into 32 2 times. So this is going to be 10 is equal to k times 2. So we want to remain with k. We are going to divide both sides by 2. So this 2 and this 2 cancel. So k is going to give us a 5. So that's the value for k. And then we can now go to part B. Part B is telling us that we want to find the value for y when x is equal to 20 and z is equal to 5. We want to find the value for y. So to be able to find it, we're going to write this equation, but where there is k, we're going to substitute 5. So that is y is equal to, where there is k, we put 5x over z squared. We want to find the value for y, so y is going to be equal to 5. Where there is x, they've given us 20 over, where there is z, they've given us z is 5. So this is 5 squared. I can also write this as y is equal to 5 multiplied by 20 divided by, when we say 5 squared, it means 5 times 5. So this 5 will cancel with 5 there. And then this 5 can go into 20 4 times. That means y is equal to 4. And then for part C, we want to find the value for z, and they've given us that x is 9 and y is 5. So again, we're going to write the equation. The equation is y is equal to 5x divided by z squared. So where there is y, we are going to put 5, and then we have got 5 multiplied by, where there is x, we are going to put 9, and then divided by z squared. We are also going to say the 5 is over 1. We are going to cross multiply, so this 5 multiplied by z squared, that is going to be 5 z squared, and that is going to be equal to, this one will be multiplied by the 5 times 9, that is going to be just 5 times 9. We'll divide both sides by 5. So we'll see that this 5 and this 5 will cancel, this 5 and this 5 will cancel, so we'll just remain with the z squared being equal to 9. So again, to remain with z, we are going to square root both sides. This square and the square root will cancel, that will leave at z being equal to, what's the square root of 9? What's the square root of 9?
3.
Okay, so don't forget, it's not just the 3 but
Positive and negative.
yes, so it is, z is going to be equal to 3, or z is going to be equal to negative 3. Okay, so that is it for this question. Let's look at this one. Let's hope we are able to see. So it is saying two variables x and y have corresponding values as shown in the table. Now, given that y varies directly as x squared plus 1, well, this one is nice. They have said y varies directly as x squared plus 1. Please, you need to put this in brackets. If you don't put in brackets, it will mean a different thing. Now, the question is find the constant k, the equation connecting y and x, and then find the value of a. So the first thing, we want to find the constant k. So we're going to write this as y is equal to, we're going to introduce k, and then we have got x squared plus 1, like that. So if you don't put this in brackets, you are going to change the meaning of the question. So make sure that you always put it in brackets. And then for part A, we want to find the value for k. We're going to write it again, y is equal to k, open brackets, x squared plus 1. So we're going to go in the table, we look for one where both values of x and y are given, so we're going to use this one. We can see that x is 2 and then y is 20. So we're going to go in the equation, where there is x, we're going to put 2. Where there is y, we're going to put 20. So that will be 20 is equal to k. This is going to be 2, but remember it's squared, plus 1. So this is going to be 20 is equal to k. 2 squared is going to be 4. And then this will be 4 plus 1, which is a 5. And then we're going to divide both sides by a 5. 5 there cancels with a 5, so that will give us k being equal to 5 can go into 20 4 times. So that is it. And then for part B, they're asking us to write the equation connecting y and x. So just write this one here, but where there is k, we'll put the value. So this is going to be y is equal to, where there is k, we are going to put 4, open brackets, x squared plus 1. This is the equation connecting y and x. If you want, you can multiply everything by 4. So it will be 4 times this one, it will be 4x squared, and then 4 times 1, it will be 4. If you want, you can end here. And then we can work out for question C. We want to find the value of a. I'm going to write the equation, y is equal to 4x squared plus 1. Now, to be able to find the value for a, how can we go about it? So we're finding the value for k. If I wanted, I could have also used this. It would be the same answer. Now we are going to come here. We can see that x is equal to a, and then y is equal to 104. So where there is x, I'm going to put a. Where there is y, I'm going to put 104. So this is going to be 104 is equal to 4, open brackets. Where there is x, I'm going to put a, but this is a squared plus 1. and then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So this 4 and this 4 is going to cancel. So we say 4 into 10, it can go there 2 times, remainder 2, which we're going to put there. And then 4 into 24, we know it can go there 6 times. So we're going to have 26 is equal to, what has remained is a squared plus 1, like that. And then I'm going to take this one, the other side is going to become negative because it's positive. So 26 minus 1 is going to give us 25, and that is going to be equal to a squared. And then from here we are going to now square root both sides because we just want to remain with a, not a squared. So what is the square root of a squared? I mean, what's the square root of 25? We know that the square root of a squared, the square and the square root are going to cancel out. So what will be what's the square root of 25?
5.
But not just 5. It is,
Positive
yes,
and negative.
yes. So a, yes,
Is it possible first to multiply therefore multiplied by a squared of and 4 multiplied by 1?
okay.
There.
Here,
No, down after we added the value 104 equals to 4 a squared plus 1, and then we multiply 4 multiplied by a squared,
like
and then
this.
4 multiplied by 1. Yes.
Yes, you can do it, but it is going to complicate your work. Remember, paper 1 doesn't have a calculator, so you'll not be using a calculator. If you multiply, you're going to be getting bigger numbers and they might be able to confuse you. Yeah. So this is it for this question, and let's look at this one. So this one is saying it is given that y varies inversely as the square of x. I think this one is the one which we already did this one. Okay, let's look at this one as the last question. The table below shows the relationship between two variables x and y. It is given that y varies inversely as a square root of x. Now, this one is not saying as a square of x, it is saying as a square root of x. So we need to know the difference. So this one is saying y varies inversely as a square root. So square root of x is like that. So if it was square of x, we would have put a power 2. Okay, and then they've told us where x is positive. So x should always be positive because it is inside the square root there. We can also write this as y, we put equal to, and then we're going to introduce k, and then over square root of x. Okay, the first question is saying write an expression for y in terms of x and the constant of variation k. Write an expression of y in terms of x and the constant of variation k. So this expression here we've answered question 1. You want to write an expression of y for y in terms of x and the constant value of k. So in other words, write an expression where y is the subject of the formula. So that is the expression. And then for question B now, find the value. The first one, we want to find the value for k. So to be able to find the value for k, the first thing, we are going to look in the table. We see which one has given us both values of y and x. Well, we can either use this one or this one. Now, I'd advise you go for numbers which are smaller for you to use. So I'm going to go for this column. If you want, you can also go for this one. So we're going to use where there is y, we're going to put 8. Where there is x, we're going to put a 1. So we're going to go here. Where there is y, we're going to put 8. And that will be equal to k over the square root. Where there is x, we are going to put a 1. So this is going to give us 8 is equal to k over, what is the square root of 1? Anyone who can help us? What's the square root of 1? What number can you multiply 2 times to get 1?
1.
Is 1. So a square root of 1 is 1. So I can also say over 8 is over 1, and then I multiply 1 by k. That is going to give us k. And this is going to be equal to 8 multiplied by 1. That is 8. So that's the value for k. K is equal to 8. And then we can go now and find the value for a. That is what the second question is saying. Find the value for a. So to be able to find the value for a, we can see that y is going to be equal to 8 over 9, and then x is going to be equal to a. So we're going to write the expression again. This, sorry, not that one, but this one. Where there is k, we're going to put 8. So y is equal to 8 over square root of x. So where there is y, we're going to put 8 over 9. And that is going to be equal to 8 over, where there is x, remember we are going to put a. So that will be a inside there. Now this one is direct. Look, on top we have got 8, meaning 8 is equal to 8, and we know that 8 is equal to 8. That means that also what is down, they should be the same. So I can just go direct and say 9 is equal to square root of a. Because what is on top is equal, even what is down should also be equal. Let me also write it as square root of a is equal to 9. Now here we want to remain with a. So what we are going to do is, for this one we've been already given a square root. So if you want to remain with a, you are going to square both sides. So square here and also square this one. This square and the square root is going to go. So a is going to be equal to, if you square 9, 9 squared also means 9 times 9, that will give you 81. But don't say positive or negative. You can only say positive or negative if you are square rooting, but here we are squaring. So apart from you using this method, you could also say, let's cross multiply. You are going to say 9 times 8, but don't write exact numbers. Don't write the value. You are going to say 8 times root a, so that is going to be 8 root a, and that is going to be equal to 9 times 8. That is going to be, I'll just write 9 times 8 like that. I'll not get a value, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. So this 8 and this 8 will cancel, this 8 and this 8 will cancel. That will leave us with square root of a is equal to 9. And then here to remain with a, we are going to square both sides. So this root and the square, they will cancel out. That will give us a is equal to 9 squared is 81. So that is how you go about it. So remember to share the video, and also just subscribe to the channel as we get to do a lot of questions.